God says this is an urgent message only for you, and the moment you opened this, heaven noticed the intention inside your heart. God says congratulations, because tonight something is shifting in your life in a way you didn't expect, and you will be very happy before the clock reaches 11:57 p.m. God says He is giving you that one thing that your heart has been silently asking for, that one thing that has felt distant for so long, that one thing that once looked impossible but suddenly is being pulled directly into your life like a divine magnet. God says you must not ignore this message, because if you ignore it, you may miss the timing, and this timing has been created only for you. You are safe, you are blessed, and nothing will go wrong with you, but God says you must trust Him more than your fears, more than your doubts, and more than anything that has disappointed you in the past. God knows that you have been waiting for a sign that proves that He has not forgotten you. God knows how many nights you cried quietly, how many days you kept pretending to be strong while your soul was carrying too much. God says tonight is different. Something about this night has been written for a long time in the spiritual timeline. Tonight holds a door that only you can walk through, and God says He is personally opening it for you. You have been praying for a blessing that changes your life. And God says that blessing is finally coming toward you. It is moving faster than you think, and heaven is preparing you for the moment it appears. God says this message reaches you before 11:57 p.m. for a reason. The spiritual window is open, and your destiny is shifting. God says you will be very happy tonight because what He is giving you is not small, not temporary, and not something that anyone can take away. What is coming is divinely protected, divinely delivered, and divinely designed just for you. God says He is restoring everything the enemy tried to steal. He is undoing what others tried to block. He is removing the delays that made you doubt your own worth. God says He has seen every attempt to break you. But nothing worked because His hand was covering you even when you did not realize it. God says you have no idea how many spiritual battles have been fought on your behalf, how many angels stood around you when darkness tried to whisper lies into your heart. You survived all of that because your blessing was waiting on the other side of your endurance, and tonight you begin receiving it. God says the one thing He is giving you tonight is something that will shift your entire direction. It may appear as a message, a realization, an opportunity, a phone call, a sign, or even a person who enters your life mysteriously. But God says the way it comes will make your heart feel a kind of peace you haven't felt in years. God says He is giving you what aligns with your soul's purpose, something that will feel like it was always meant for you. You will not have to fight for it, you will not have to beg for it, you will not have to chase it. It will come naturally, beautifully, and divinely on time. God says He knows you have felt tired, like you were fighting invisible battles alone. But you were never alone. Every step you took, every tear you shed, every moment you questioned yourself, heaven was watching. God says He allowed certain people to leave your life because they were never meant to receive the blessing that is coming. He allowed certain doors to close because He did not want you walking into places that would drain your spirit. God says what He gives you tonight is something sacred, something destined, something that cannot be contaminated by jealousy, negativity, or fear. God says you will be very happy tonight because He is lifting the weight off your shoulders. He is releasing you from the spiritual exhaustion that tried to weaken your faith. God says He is breaking the cycles that repeated themselves for too long. The heartbreak, the betrayal, the confusion, the silence. God says tonight He ends the season of struggle and begins the season of restoration. You may not see the full picture yet, but God says the shift starts within your spirit first. You will feel lighter, calmer, more hopeful. God says He is rewiring your mind, strengthening your heart, and preparing your spirit for the blessings coming quickly toward you. God says He heard the prayer you prayed in secret, the prayer you didn't share with anyone because you thought no one would understand. God says He understands, and He is answering it in a way that will exceed every expectation. God says He knows exactly what you need, exactly what you desire, exactly what has been missing. Tonight the answer begins to manifest. He says trust Him even when you don't understand all the details yet. The blessing has already been released, now it is coming into your reality. God says that one thing He gives you tonight may come as clarity, clarity about your purpose, your relationships, your path, or your next step. It may come as a breakthrough, something that was blocked suddenly opening. It may come as relief, something that has been worrying you suddenly resolving. It may come as a miracle, something you did not think was possible suddenly becoming real. But God says however it arrives, you will know it is from Him because it will bring peace, not confusion, joy, not fear, alignment, not chaos. God says you must not doubt the timing. Before 11:57 p.m., your spirit will feel a shift, and you will sense that something is working in your favor. It might feel like a sudden calmness washing over you, or an inner voice telling you that everything is going to change. God says trust that feeling. That is His confirmation. That is His sign that the blessing is already on its way. God says He is removing the people who secretly wished against your happiness. He is exposing the ones who pretended to care but acted against you. He is protecting your heart from unnecessary pain. God says He is guarding your steps because your destiny is too important to be influenced by the wrong ones. Tonight He places spiritual protection around you so strong that no negativity from others can reach you. God says someone has tried to discourage you, someone tried to make you feel small, someone tried to make you give up on yourself. But God says He is lifting you higher than those voices, higher than those doubts, higher than those who underestimated you. God says He is placing you in a position that even your enemies will not be able to deny. What is coming for you is undeniable, unforgettable, and unstoppable. God says He is giving you that one thing that you lost hope, Indiana. That one thing you thought would never return. That one thing that slipped through your fingers before but now is coming back in a better form. God says He is restoring what you thought was gone forever. He is turning your pain into a blessing, your tears into strength, and your waiting into testimony. God says, listen carefully. What He brings tonight will bring emotional clarity. You will understand why the delays happened, why the wrong people left, why certain situations collapsed. God says it wasn't punishment, it was preparation. It wasn't rejection, it was redirection. It wasn't loss, it was divine protection. God says He was not taking something away from you, He was clearing space for something greater. God says you will be very happy tonight because He is bringing you into alignment with your higher purpose. You will feel a spark inside your heart, something awakening, something glowing, something reminding you that God has never abandoned you. He says He is awakening your confidence, your intuition, your inner strength. He is rewiring your energy. You will feel more powerful, more focused, more ready for what comes next. God says He is also preparing someone connected to your destiny. Someone whose presence will support your growth, not drain it. Someone who will bring healing to your heart, not confusion. Someone who will recognize your worth instantly. God says destiny connections are being activated tonight. The right people will be drawn to you, the right opportunities will gravitate toward you, and the right blessings will appear without struggle. God says this is your moment of transition. Tonight is the beginning of a new chapter that has waited long enough to open. He says you must remain calm, centered, and open-hearted. Do not worry about how it will happen. Do not fear the unknown. God says He is leading you into a breakthrough that will unfold step by step, and each step will feel divinely guided. God says trust Him. Everything happening tonight is for your highest good. Everything shifting around you is aligning you with peace, abundance, love, and purpose. You are safe. You are protected. You are loved. And nothing will go wrong with you because God is with you in every breath, every moment, every heartbeat. God says congratulations. What comes tonight will make you smile in a way you haven't smiled in a long time. It will calm your heart, open your path, and bring the peace you have been craving. But God says do not ignore this message. Because the blessing is tied to the moment you receive it. Before 11:57 p.m., something will align, something will unlock, something will shift in your favor. God says He is giving you that one thing. Tonight, it reaches you. Tonight, your heart will know. Tonight, heaven moves for you. You are safe. You are protected. You are blessed. And the miracle has already begun. God says this is an urgent message only for you. And God says congratulations because you will be very happy tonight, and you must understand that what is coming toward you is not ordinary, not random, and not something that happens to everyone. God says this is personal, this is precise, and this is meant to reach your spirit before the clock touches 11:57 p.m. God says you are standing in front of something you have been waiting for without even realizing how close it has been. God says open this message quickly, because if you ignore this moment, if you hesitate, if you delay, you might miss the one thing that God Himself is placing into your life. God says He will be with you, nothing will go wrong with you, you are safe, you just have to trust Him and pray to Him, because He is preparing something that is going to shift the entire atmosphere around you tonight. God says He has watched your pain for far too long. He has watched you pretend to be strong when you were quietly breaking. He has watched you give your all to people who gave little back. He has watched you hold on when others let go. God says He has seen every silent tear, every silent battle, every moment when you wanted to quit but somehow still found the strength to take one more step. God says because you kept going, because you kept believing somewhere deep inside your soul, because you didn't let darkness swallow your hope, He is giving you that one thing tonight, the very thing your heart whispered about when no one was around. God says you will be very happy tonight, because something is about to shift so suddenly, so strongly, that you will feel the change in your spirit before you even see it with your eyes. God says the thing He is giving you will feel like a breakthrough, a blessing, a miracle wrapped in His own hands. God says He is sending it toward you because the time of delay is over, the time of disappointment is over, the time of confusion is over, the time of waiting without answers is over. God says this is the moment He turns the page of your story and writes something new, something powerful, something divinely aligned with the purpose He planted inside you long ago. God says He is giving you that one thing your soul has been starving for. Some people think they know what you need, but only God truly knows the deepest emptiness you carry. Only God knows the wound you hide with a smile. Only God knows the longing that sits quietly in your chest. Only God knows the question you keep asking in your heart, the one you don't tell anyone: when will something finally change for me? God says tonight is your change. Tonight is your turning point. Tonight is where the stuck places in your life begin to move. Tonight is where you feel something lift off your shoulders that has been holding you down for years. Tonight is where God steps in and gives you the one thing that changes everything. God says be careful with your thoughts right now, because the enemy has been trying to distract you just before this blessing arrives. God says you have been feeling strange emotions lately, moments of sudden heaviness, sudden doubt, sudden fatigue, sudden confusion. God says that was spiritual interference. That was the enemy trying to disconnect you from this message, trying to delay your alignment, trying to weaken your faith before the blessing reached your door. But God says it is too late. The blessing is already on its way to you, already traveling, already moving, already being released. God says nothing can block it now, nothing can stop it, nothing can interfere with it. God says He has sealed this blessing with His protection, His authority, His divine signature. No one can alter what God has written, and no one can break what God has sealed. God says the thing coming to you tonight has your name on it and no one else can claim it. God says this is yours, and it has been yours since the moment He promised it to you long before you even prayed for it. God says this is the moment where the promise and the prayer collide, where what you hoped for and what He destined for you become the same thing. God says you need to understand why tonight is important. God says timing matters in the spiritual realm. There are doors that open only for a short moment, and this is one of those doors. God says He has opened a window of divine opportunity, a moment where the spiritual world aligns with your natural world, a moment where heaven leans close to you. God says this opportunity lasts only until 11:57 p.m. God says He is not threatening you. He is warning you with love. If you ignore this message, if you dismiss it, if you walk away from it, you will miss the spiritual alignment He has created specifically for you. God says this is not fear, this is urgency with purpose. God says He is giving you something that will calm your heart. Something that will heal you from the inside. Something that will restore your confidence. Something that will remove the heaviness that has been sitting on your spirit. Something that will return the joy you lost. Something that will replace what was taken. Something that will erase the feeling of being overlooked. Something that will make you say, God, I knew you didn't forget me. God says He never forgets His children. Especially the ones who cry out to Him from a place of loneliness, exhaustion, and quiet desperation. God says your life is about to shift so strongly that even the people who doubted you will feel the change. God says some people thought you were finished. Some people thought you were stuck forever. Some people thought you had nothing left. Some people thought you were too broken to rise again. But God says tonight is the night He proves them wrong without you having to say a word. God says the blessing He is giving you will speak louder than any explanation you could ever offer. God says He will let your breakthrough be your voice. God says the thing He is giving you will open paths you thought were closed permanently. God says some of the things you were crying about only months ago will become irrelevant because He is sending new joy that will cover the old pain. God says He is bringing clarity to what confused you. God says He is bringing peace to what troubled you. God says He is bringing comfort to what hurt you. God says He is bringing strength to what weakened you. God says He is bringing direction to what felt lost. God says He is bringing restoration to what was broken. God says He is bringing justice to what was unfair. God says He is giving you something that will make sense of everything you went through. God says the storms you survived were not punishment, they were preparation. God says the rejection you faced was not a curse. It was redirection. God says the loneliness you carried was not emptiness, it was elevation. God says the delays you suffered were not denials, they were protection. God says every no you heard in your life was making space for the yes you are receiving tonight. God says you will be very happy because this blessing is not temporary, it is long-lasting, deeply rooted, and spiritually protected. God says this blessing will outlive fear, outlive doubt, outlive insecurity, outlive the past, outlive your old pain. God says this blessing will grow and grow and grow in your life. God says He is planting it in a place in your spirit where nothing can uproot it. God says He knows what you have been asking for. Whether you have been asking for peace, for love, for healing, for opportunities, for clarity, for financial stability, for protection, for support, or simply for relief, God says the blessing He is sending tonight is the answer to the deepest questions of your spirit. God says He is giving you that one thing that will make everything else fall into place. God says trust Him tonight. God says pray to Him tonight. God says do not let fear interrupt what He is doing. God says do not let doubt silence your faith. God says do not let sadness convince you that nothing will change. God says change is already happening. God says He is already working. God says He is already fighting for you. God says He is already arranging divine connections, divine timing, divine favor. God says you must know that you are safe. Nothing will go wrong with you. God says He is placing a shield around you tonight, a spiritual covering that protects your mind, your heart, your home, your destiny. God says no weapon formed against you will prosper, and no enemy will succeed in interfering with your path. God says He is giving you something you thought might never come. God says expect it. God says embrace it. God says open your heart to it. God says prepare for it. God says believe it. God says tonight something unforgettable is coming to you, and when it arrives, you will know it was God Himself who placed it in your life. God says open this message quickly before 11:57 p.m. God says do not delay. God says you are safe. God says nothing will go wrong with you. God says trust Him. God says pray to Him. God says He is giving you that one thing, and it is going to make you very, very happy tonight. God says congratulations. God says you will be very happy tonight because I am giving you that one thing you have been silently praying for, the one thing your soul has cried over, the one thing you wished for even when you were surrounded by darkness. I know why you opened this message at this exact moment. I know what you carried inside your heart all day, the thoughts that kept repeating in your mind, the fear that tried to whisper doubt, and the hope that refused to die. Tonight, before 11:57 p.m., a shift is coming toward you, written by my own hand, sealed with my power, and sent to you with the full force of heaven. I need your heart still for a moment, because what I am about to release will touch you deeper than anything you have received in a long time. You are safe. You are protected. Nothing will go wrong with you. You are wrapped in my light even if you cannot see it, and you are surrounded by angels even if you cannot feel them. There has been a weight on your chest for weeks, an invisible pressure that made you wonder whether I was listening, whether your prayers had become echoes in an empty room. But I want you to hear me clearly. I never left. I never ignored you. I never missed a single tear or a single whispered request. I watched you hold on when others would have fallen apart. I saw you being strong when your heart felt fragile. And I watched you stay kind even when you had every reason to become cold. This is why tonight carries a different blessing. Tonight is not ordinary. Tonight is a divine appointment written long before you were born. Something you thought was impossible is already moving toward you. I am giving you that one thing. You know exactly what it is, because your soul reacted the moment you read these words. You have been preparing for it without realizing. You have been tested for it. You have cried for it. And now the door you have been waiting for is beginning to unlock. You felt blocked for so long, like every step forward was met with resistance. But that was not punishment. That was protection. There were two paths in front of you, and one of them would have harmed you deeply if it opened too early. So I slowed you down, not to break you but to save you. Every delay had purpose. Every disappointment redirected you. Every closed door protected you from something you didn't see. Now the timing is right. Now the road is clear. Now the blessing can safely reach you. Heaven is not late, heaven is precise. Everything has been aligning quietly, without noise, without warnings, without signs you could interpret too early. If you had known what was coming, you would have tried to prepare in your own strength. But I wanted this moment to surprise you, to lift you, to remind you that when I decide to bless you, nothing and no one can stop me. There is something you prayed for recently, something that came from a deeper part of your soul, not out of fear but out of faith. You asked me to show you a sign, to show you that you are not forgotten, to show you that your efforts are not being wasted. This message is that sign. You asked me for clarity, for direction, for confirmation. And now I am telling you, prepare yourself emotionally, because before 11:57 p.m., you will feel a calm in your spirit and a shift around you. Something will feel lighter. Something will feel clearer. That is not coincidence. That is not imagination. That is me, clearing the path and delivering the blessing you have waited for. I am placing something into your hands that will restore your joy, your confidence, and your faith in what I can do. You have been carrying a burden that was never meant to be yours. You tried to fix things that were never your responsibility. You held on to situations that drained your energy because you believed loyalty meant suffering in silence. But I am releasing you from that. You are stepping into a chapter where peace will not be rare, where love will not be painful, where opportunities will not slip out of your hands. I am removing the wrong people, the wrong energy, the wrong distractions, and the wrong intentions from your path. I am making room for what is meant for you. Someone around you will reveal their true intentions soon, not to hurt you but to protect you. I am exposing every hidden agenda that tried to limit your blessings. You will see faces differently, but do not fear. My hand is on you, and everything I reveal is for your elevation, not your destruction. There is something beautiful coming your way, something that will make you smile in a way you haven't smiled in a long time. It could be a message, an opportunity, a person, a breakthrough, a release, or a reward. But it will be something that touches your heart deeply. You have waited long enough. You have suffered long enough. You have worried long enough. Tonight is the night heaven shifts in your favor. Tonight is the night your blessing gets released. Tonight is the night something old breaks and something new is born. You were meant to open this message. You were drawn to it because your spirit recognized what your mind could not yet see. I need you to trust me completely in the next few hours. Do not retreat into fear. Do not let doubt steal what is coming. Do not let the voice of negativity distract you. You are on sacred ground right now, a spiritual moment where heaven touches earth for your sake. What you are receiving is not luck. Not chance, not coincidence. It is divine timing. It is divine alignment. It is divine justice. Something that was taken from you is returning. Something that was blocked is opening. Something that was delayed is accelerating. Something that was confusing is becoming clear. And something that was stagnant is now coming alive again. You asked me for a sign of hope, and this is the sign. You asked me for a breakthrough, and this is the beginning of it. You asked me for a blessing, and it is already written with your name on it. Do not fear the unknown. Do not fear the future. You are not walking into darkness, you are walking into destiny. You are stepping into a new alignment that will bring more stability than the past ever offered. You will soon understand why certain things didn't work out. You will see why certain people had to leave. You will see why I kept you hidden for a while. I was protecting your spirit from premature battles and preparing you for blessings you could not handle back then. But now, you are ready. Now you have grown. Now your heart is wiser. Now your spirit is stronger. And now your light is brighter than anything that tried to dim it. Tonight, I will give you a moment of confirmation. It may come as a feeling, a sign, a shift, a message, or an unexpected blessing. Pay attention to the calm that settles around you. Pay attention to the relief in your chest. Pay attention to the thought that suddenly feels like an answer. These are not random. These are not ordinary. These are my ways of showing you that what you asked for has been approved in heaven. I am with you. Nothing will go wrong with you. You are safe. You are protected. You are covered. You are guided. Even when you feel alone, you are surrounded by angels. Even when you feel uncertain, I am directing your steps. Even when you doubt yourself, I believe in you. And even when others underestimate you, I am preparing a blessing that will shock them. Tonight holds a divine secret for you. A shift. A message. A breakthrough. A miracle. Something only I could give, but hear me clearly. If you ignore this moment, you will miss what is being placed in your path. Not forever, but you will delay it. This is why I am calling you now, urgently, lovingly, powerfully. Keep your heart open. Keep your spirit awake. Keep your faith alive. What is coming will require your trust, not your fear. You are stepping into a blessing so perfectly timed that you will feel my presence in a way you haven't felt in a long time. You will see my hand moving. You will feel my guidance. And tonight, before 11:57 p.m., you will know that this message was not a coincidence. It was a divine appointment. You are chosen. You are protected. You are blessed. And you are about to receive that one thing your heart has been waiting for. God is with you. Nothing will go wrong with you. You are safe. Trust me. Pray, breathe, and allow your miracle to arrive. God says this is an urgent message only for you, and the moment your eyes fall on these words, something in your spirit begins to tremble because heaven has been waiting for you to open this exact moment, at this exact minute, in this exact state of heart. God says congratulations, because tonight something that has been blocked, delayed, resisted, and stolen from you is finally being placed back into your hands. God says you will be very happy tonight because the one thing you kept praying for, the one request that made your heart cry in silence, is being released. Heaven says open this message quickly before 11:57 p.m. Because the blessing traveling toward you is time-sensitive. If you ignore this message, you may miss the divine moment prepared for you, but if you receive this with faith, God says nothing will stop what is coming. You are safe, protected, covered, and wrapped in divine light. Nothing will go wrong with you. Just trust God and keep your heart open as you read these words. God is saying that He has been watching your heart for a long time, how you love, how you care, how you forgive, how you try again even when you're exhausted. He says you have been carrying more pain than any human should carry alone, yet you never gave up on goodness. You never gave up on love. You never gave up on Him. Tonight, heaven releases a divine exchange, your pain for peace, your waiting for receiving, your tears for joy. God says the joy I'm giving you tonight is not ordinary joy, it is the kind of joy that feels like freedom, like relief, like finally breathing after being underwater for too long. God says you will be very happy tonight because something is being returned to you that you thought was lost forever. A prayer that you whispered from a broken place is now shining in front of God like a golden flame. God says that prayer was not ignored. It was stored. It was protected. It was waiting for the right moment to become your reality. And heaven declares that moment is now, as you read these words. God is sending angels to remove the energy of fear that has been clinging to your steps. Archangel Michael stands near you right now with his mighty presence, speaking powerfully into your spirit saying, "Do not fear what is coming. Fear what you might lose by refusing to open your heart." Heaven is clearing a path for you, removing spiritual dust, wiping away confusion, tearing apart delays that were never meant to touch your destiny. You may feel warmth in your chest, a tingling in your hands, a sudden calmness, or even a feeling of being watched over. That is not your imagination. That is God confirming that this message is for you and you alone. God says your happiness is about to return in a form that will surprise you. A shift is taking place around you, silent, invisible, but extremely powerful. Imagine a door that has been locked for years suddenly clicking open. Imagine something that was blocked for months finally moving forward. That is what is happening in the spiritual realm right now. Heaven has approved something with your name on it, and God Himself is sealing it with divine timing. No human can stop it. No jealousy can block it. No negativity can interfere. God says the one thing you asked for, the one thing that made your soul cry, the one desire you buried because you thought it was impossible, He is giving it to you. He has seen your sacrifices, the nights you stayed awake worrying. The times you tried to be strong even when you felt weak. God says this blessing is not a reward, it is a restoration. It is something that always belonged to you, but the enemy tried to make you believe you were unworthy of it. Tonight, heaven corrects that lie. God says He is giving you a blessing that will touch every part of your life. This is not a small blessing. This is not something temporary. This is not something fragile. This is something permanent, holy, divinely assigned. Whether it is love, money, healing, peace, or opportunity, whatever your heart cried for the loudest, that is what God is releasing. God says you will be very happy tonight because the person or situation that broke you is no longer allowed to control your emotions, your destiny, or your future. A divine separation is taking place. God is removing you from anything that steals your peace. He is breaking chains you got used to living with. He is pulling you out of emotional traps, toxic cycles, hidden manipulation, invisible cages. God says you no longer have to fight battles in silence. Angels are fighting for you now. Heaven is rearranging things for you. What was meant to destroy you is now becoming the reason God accelerates your blessing. God says someone who underestimated you will soon witness how highly heaven values you. Someone who ignored your worth will suddenly see you rising in ways they cannot explain. Someone who thought they had time to play with your emotions will discover that God has lifted you into a new chapter where their access expires. This time, God says, no one will mistreat your heart. No one will take advantage of your kindness. No one will drain your spirit. God is placing you in a season where only the right people can reach you. Tonight, heaven places a supernatural covering over your home. God says you are safe. Your spirit is safe. Your future is safe. Nothing will go wrong with you. Every negative word spoken against you is being erased. Every curse is being reversed. Every loss is being repaired. Every delay is being broken. God says even if you feel tired, even if you feel unsure, even if life feels heavy, your blessing is still coming. Your miracle does not depend on how strong you feel, it depends on how strong God is. God says congratulations because your life is shifting from waiting to receiving, from hoping to having, from praying to praising. Something good is entering your life tonight. Something blessed. Something sacred. Something that carries peace, abundance, favor, and long-awaited relief. God says the next 24 hours will show you a sign. A message, a number, a dream, a sudden change in energy, or unexpected good news, anything that makes your spirit say, "This is my confirmation." Do not ignore it. Do not doubt it. Do not dismiss it. Heaven communicates in quiet ways before it sends loud miracles. God says before 11:57 p.m., your prayer is being lifted into a higher realm. Heaven is speeding up something that used to be slow. A change that would normally take months will now unfold rapidly. This is divine acceleration. God is moving things behind the scenes. You are not aware of everything happening, but you will soon see the results. God says all you need to do is trust Him. Trust the timing. Trust the process. Trust the release. God says you are stepping into a chapter where joy will return without warning. Where unexpected blessings will find you. Where people who left you will regret it. Where people who doubted you will be silenced. Where people who hurt you will be unable to stop your rise. God says your elevation is not a rumor, it is a divine decision. As you continue reading, God is healing something in you that you don't talk about. A wound you pretend doesn't hurt. A memory you keep buried. A fear you never admit. God says you don't have to pretend anymore. I see everything. And tonight, I heal everything. You may feel emotional as you read. That is normal. It is your spirit releasing old energy. It is God touching the places you kept hidden. Heaven says you deserve peace. You deserve rest. You deserve happiness. And tonight, God is giving it to you. God says the blessing coming to you will be bigger than the pain that led you here. Bigger than the disappointment you survived. Bigger than the loneliness you felt. Bigger than the heartbreak you endured. Bigger than the betrayal that broke you. God says I am not giving you small joy. I am giving you joy that overflows. Your life is shifting. Your energy is shifting. Your destiny is unfolding. Heaven is on your side. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are not abandoned. You are not cursed. You are chosen. You are protected. You are loved. God says your time has come. Open your hands. Open your heart. Receive what is already yours. Tonight, Heaven releases your blessing.